Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's key, which is oof, who knew that Robyn Dixon was going to be the tragic gift that keeps on giving? So, Juan Dixon's mistress. Sorry, you guys, I have a cough drop in. So, sorry about that. I have a cough drop. Juan's mistress speaks out and is slamming all of the claims that Robyn made while she was lying and fumbling the bag and fumbling her position on the show on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. So we're going to watch what Robyn said during her Watch What Happens Live segment, and then we're going to watch and listen to what the mistress has come out and said in her interview with Giorgio Says, okay? Now, before we do that, you know what to do. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because a key is always better with community. Check out our description box down below and join our newsletter. It is free. Again, if I'm swallowing weird, I have a cough drop in, so sorry about that, guys. All right, let's get into it. Now, first, let's watch what Robyn said during Watch What Happens Live so we can have that blueprint. Then we can listen to what the mistress said and we can call out the different lies. As a quick recap, just quick recap for anybody who may not know. So the current drama is this. We know that Robyn Dixon was sitting on one of the biggest storylines, one of the biggest lies ever, that she knew of Juan Dixon's, quote, alleged cheating, which turns out to be actual cheating because he's admitted to it, and so has the mistress, right? But she was lying about it the entire time. What adds insult to injury is that also Giselle knew, and she said nothing. I also think Ashley knew. Even though Robyn is trying to protect Ashley, I think Ashley knew. That's what Carlos King said. I believe Carlos King over Robyn Dixon, point blank, period. Shout out to Carlos King. Okay. What also adds even more insult to injury is how malicious and calculated and evil Giselle and Robyn and even Ashley have been in trying to keep this covered up. They've gone after other people's marriages. They've gone after other people's husbands. They said that Chris Bassett was basically a sexual predator. You know, during in the reunion clip, you see he's really upset. He's like, I've lost business. I lost clients. I had to answer to my family. Like, that's a very horrible, evil thing to put on any person, insinuating that they are a sexual predator. And it seems to be they only did that to keep this lie covered up in order to deflect from their own lie. And I also think, and this is another thing that people aren't talking about, I also think they made up these lies on people, going after Karen, lying on Chris Bassett, X, Y, and Z, going after Wendy, in order to discredit them, not just deflection, but also to discredit them for if they did come out and say, because, as Robyn said, and the mistress, she had reached out to multiple people. So if they did come out with information, they could just say, no, you're just saying that because you're mad I talked about your man, Chris. You're just saying that, Karen, because I talked about blue eyes. You're just saying this. You're just saying that. And isn't that exactly what happened? Isn't that exactly what happened? Because remember when Karen came out and was talking about the blonde girl in Georgetown, they all were like, oh no, Karen's just mad. Karen's just lying. She's just mad because they're talking about blue eyes. It was also a way to discredit them if they actually came out and exposed them. Now, it really hit the fan when the mistress came out with all the information, what Giorgio Says. Robyn, for whatever reason, in her pea-brain mind, decided that she wanted to actually admit this, but she told the truth wrapped up in lies on the podcast with Giselle. They were kiki and hee-hawing, lying about all this stuff. We're going to get into it because we're going to watch it too. And then these fools had the audacity to say, if you want the truth, still wrapped up in lies, join our Patreon. Pay us $5 for Quote the Truth, even though I am on an international reality show on Bravo, but you're going to pay me $5 for, quote, the truth. Absolute hot mess. But that is kind of the quick cliff notes of now where we are today, with the Mistress speaking out, debunking Robyn's lie. She had a lot of great points, okay? Now, first, let's watch a snippet from Robyn's interview on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, just so we can get from the horse's mouth her lies. And then we will watch or we'll listen to rather, the Mistress's interview, okay? So let's watch. And shout out to all my candy canes. Hey guys, what's up? I love you guys. All right, let's go. Here we go. Let me pull it up. All right.
We had originally booked you tonight to celebrate your wedding and lean into that, and we still want to do that a little bit. But Robyn, this week you admitted on your podcast that Juan had been involved with another woman during COVID and that you knew about it ahead of season 7 and that the situation had been, quote, handled. Yeah. Obviously, I have questions.
Okay.
You mentioned on your podcast that Juan and this woman didn't date and he didn't fly her anywhere.
Correct.
Can you clarify why she had a hotel receipt with Juan's name on it?
Oh, wow, you want to get all into there. Okay,
Yeah.
so I really don't want to give her this attention, but she lives in Canada. Canada was clearly on a strict lockdown during the pandemic.
Okay.
So the hotel receipt comes into play because for whatever reason, she decided that she wanted to fly to Maryland. And she had told Juan that she was dating a Baltimore Ravens player. So she's telling him she's flying to Maryland, and he's like, okay, whatever. But somewhere along the way, she gets to Maryland, she's reaching out to him, she tells him she lost her wallet in the casino and she cannot pay for her hotel room.
Okay.
So he feels bad for her. Apparently she was like, really stressed out, really distraught. He feels bad for her. He goes to the hotel, puts his card down at the counter or whatever, and that's it. So.
Okay, so so that was the only time they met in person?
Yes.
And I guess this could sound like BS to a lot of people.
No, it sounded like BS to me.
Okay.
Honestly, like when I found out about it, it sounded like BS to me. But he was very, he was.
You believe him?
I believe him. Just and also based on like what she revealed last week.
Okay.
I believe him.
Here's my thing. You're on a reality show about your life.
Yeah.
And infidelity has been the hot topic of the season. And you've played a part in the conversations. Mm-hmm. So how do you stay silent through the season?
Because it was so in the back of my mind. Like, we dealt with it, we moved on from it. I don't know why I would say, hey guys, pick me, let's talk about my issue.
The expectation is that you're sharing everything that's going on in your life.
Right.
So that's why. It's not about pick me, wait to be picked. It's, hey, we went through something and this is what's happening in our lives.
But it wasn't an issue at that moment while we were filming. If it was an issue while we were filming.
It had been an issue in your relationship.
Because it wasn't relevant to where we were in that present time.
Another big criticism is you withhold the truth on the reality show that you're on, but then you sell it behind a paywall.
Well, I talked about it on the free podcast.
Okay.
Right?
And then you said.
And I didn't it's not about withholding information. It was because this information was given light last week or the week before.
That's why you brought it up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because the lie, like the lies.
I think that's called withholding information. Attorney Williams?
Oh, yeah, I'm about the paper, so I'm here for the paywall.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm a podcaster as well, Andy, so we got the bag.
And my problem was
All right.
the female was telling lies and trying to expose us. She was telling lies, and I felt I needed to correct the lies.
Thanks for watching. Watch more clips here.
You guys, if Robyn's talking about exposing lies and people telling lies, she really needs to look at herself. A couple of things with that, and then we'll dive into the mistress's rebuttal, because she does go and she does a phone interview with Giorgio Says. Shout out to Giorgio Says. I have that interview linked down below because I want to cite my source and give credit where credit is due. So that's linked down below in the show notes. She does do a phone interview with him, basically rebutting every single thing that Robyn has just said. We're going to listen to it. But a couple of things before we dive into that. Okay. This is the crucial piece that I think everybody else is getting wrong. I'm hearing everybody report on this and they're like, Robyn's delusional. Juan is telling her some BS story. Why does she believe that? He's been caught cheating. Robyn's the victim. Why is she regurgitating this lie that he told her? I don't think that's it. And I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. I think it's more because if you watched her, right? To me, Robyn didn't look like she was retelling a story that somebody told her. That's a different energy. If I'm saying, hey, you know what? My boyfriend said blah, 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 blah. That's a very different energy than the way she told the story. To me, she told that story as if she was someone who was remembering the lie that she made up herself. Like, oh, this is the story we made up. So it's kind of confusing. So then he went here and he wanted to help out. And then the girl was just, it was very she was trying to, it was like a really bad actor trying to remember their lines. That's a very different energy than somebody retelling a story that somebody told them. I don't think Juan told Robyn this story at all. I think Robyn, Juan, and most likely her girlfriend, Giselle, either all three of them got together and made up this cockamamie story together for the cover-up, or Juan was just like, miss me with this BS. I actually don't give a damn. And this is the cockamamie scheme that Robyn and Giselle came up with to cover the tracks. That's the way it sounded on the Reasonably Shady podcast, that the two of them, and to me, I think it makes more sense that it's Robyn and Giselle who got together and made up this cockamamie ass story. I actually don't think Juan had anything to do with this cuckoo for Cocoa Puff story. I don't think it's her retelling what Juan said. I think it's her remembering the lie that she made up to cover up for herself. Because I believe the mistress that Robyn and Juan, it's not a real relationship. It's just for the show. It's just for the cameras. It's just for a check. We've actually been saying that honestly since day one. And I think that's what a lot of people are getting wrong on this. I don't think it's Robyn being delusional and believing Juan's lie. I think Robyn is the one who's making up the lie to begin with. Because to be honest, it's her neck on the line. It's her job on the line. To me, Juan seems all the way checked out. At this point, I don't even think he cares about that Bravo check. I think he's just all the way checked out. Okay? Florida Gal for Life made a very good point. She says, remember, Robyn once worked in PR. Exactly. Maybe this is why she no longer works in PR, because she could have thought of a much better spin than this crap. There are so many holes in it. The hotel story makes zero sense. If she was there to be with, and she better be careful because the Baltimore Ravens might come suing her for slander. Shout out to Real Housewives of Miami. They might come out and start suing her for that. Because why is she bringing Baltimore Ravens into the equation at all? At all. I wouldn't have brought in any other entity, any other university, any other person, because then it's like, well, who on the Baltimore Ravens? Right? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I thought that was crazy. Did you also see how she told on herself? Again, we already knew this, but it's great when you get confirmation. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. Remember when she said, oh, why would I raise my hand and say, pick me, go after me? That is a nod to the fact, and Carlos King said it, and we already knew it, and what's her face had already told on herself too. Candace, with the whole Monique situation and everything, that they all get together and they pick the person that they're going to target. So that's what she was saying. Why would I say to them, oh, pick me? Why would you think that unless you knew that was the strategy that they go by? They go around and they get together and they say, who are we going to pick? Who are we going to choose? Who are we going to target? It was clear they picked Karen, and it was clear they picked Wendy. And because I think when it wasn't working with them picking Chris, because Candace didn't take the bait and Chris didn't take the bait, they handled it very well. Then they doubled down on bullying Wendy and bullying Karen. It's crazy. But this whole story, I don't think Juan really has anything to do with it. This screams Robyn and Giselle, Tweedledee and Tweedledum got together and said, hey, we're gonna fool the people. This is my Giselle voice. Catch me outside, catch me outside. You know, not today, Nick. Not today, say it. They got together with both of their half of the brains and formed kind of a brain and came up with this cockamamie scheme. Hey, speak with your girl, Marcella. Thank you so much for the super chat. She goes, Candy, he has another boo locally in MC. She got money. Wedding license still not a courthouse yet. I agree. Thank you so much for the super chat. I agree. It is now becoming out of the woodwork, you know, more of Juan's boos and all of that stuff. I don't even want to call them a mistress. I don't even want to call it cheating. I don't want to call it an affair because I don't think they're actually together. That's why I don't think Juan told her this story. I think she made it up. Her and Giselle made it up to try and cover for themselves. They made it up for their podcast episode. Right? Okay, you guys. Now let's play some of the interview that the mistress did with let me pull it up, guys, okay? Bear with me. Okay, let's play some of the interview. Hold on. Okay, let's play some of the interview that the mistress, I don't want to even call her a mistress, that the woman did. I'm going to call her the woman. That the woman did. And also, by the way, she wants to stay anonymous. I saw some other people trying to dox her. I just want to make this disclaimer. With the candy cane community, we are respectful. And we're not going to dox anybody, okay? So we're not going to dox her because she's made it very clear she wants to remain anonymous. And I thank you guys in advance. I have the best community, so I appreciate you guys. Okay, let's listen to some of it. This is her interview with Giorgio Says, okay? I might pop in and out of it because I don't want it to get like flagged or anything so we can hear all of it. Okay.
Airing of Watch What Happens Live, it's clear to me that maybe Juan told this story and wants to leave it at that, and Robyn is just going with it. However, there's a lot of things that Robyn states on her podcast and on the Patreon that seem to conflict with what this woman has said to me, and I wanted to hear the answers from her mouth regarding the things that Robyn has said about her and what actually happened between her and Juan. So without further ado, let's take a listen to what she had to say to me. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so thank you for doing this. I know we had to move pretty quickly, but like I said, I think we should stick to, for right now, let's stick to what Robyn has discussed on Patreon and what she discussed on Watch What Happens Live, which is pretty much the same bit. So let's start with Robyn saying, which you already said, you reached out to Juan. So that is correct, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you reached out to Juan first, and then he obviously entertained the conversation, as we saw in the DMs that you put forward. And from what Robyn said on Patreon was that Juan was not interested, but mainly was just being nice. And so that you had reached out to him, that you had told him that you were coming to Maryland because you were dating a Ravens football player or something like that. Can you talk about that? Because that didn't add up from what you had said to me initially.
Yeah, I have no idea where that story came from. It's very confusing. I had no reason to go to Maryland other than to see Juan.
And how long were you guys talking before you came to Maryland the first time?
It was like a year, I want to say at least a year, because there was restrictions with COVID. That is true. And there was no crossing the border at the time.
Okay, so that part is true. There was strict, I do recall that. So, but
yes.
once the restrictions were lifted, that's when you made the plan to come. But was it that you offered, or was he the one that said, come visit me?
It was both. It was definitely both of us. We both wanted to meet each other, and we both were just waiting for the restrictions to be lifted. It was always a plan. It was always in the works.
And so you guys didn't just talk via texting or DMs, right? Like, did you guys ever talk on the phone or FaceTime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all the time.
So when Robyn says that, let's jump to when you're in Maryland. So you get to Maryland. What was the plan? You got to Maryland, and then what?
I was just going to meet him at the hotel and just get settled in, I guess.
Okay. And so the part where Robyn suggests that you called Juan when I guess she said that, well, firstly, she said that your wallet was stolen in the casino. And then on Watch What Happens Live, she said that you lost your wallet. So this is what prompted you to call Juan. And then Juan, being the Good Samaritan, drove to the hotel to put his card down and then left. Can you clarify that?
I don't know what to say to that, because it's just outrageous.
Like, it doesn't make sense, you mean?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, any of it. So
okay, I'm going to pause there because I got some questions. First up, I agree with her. Just from a logical standpoint, what other reason would she have to go to Maryland if it was not to see Juan, who she was communicating with, sexting, I'm guessing? You're not talking to a guy for a year without a little bit of going on, talking to, FaceTiming, sexting for a year. Why else would she be in Maryland if it wasn't to see him? And also, if it wasn't to see him, how does he even know her? This is why Robyn's story doesn't make any sense. You mean to tell me Juan was communicating with a woman for a year? I don't believe for a second when Robyn said they weren't dating. I think they were dating. I think in the 2020 version of dating, 2020 version of dating is all in our phone. She lives in the phone just like Jamal. I believe her. I think they were commuting for the year. I think she did, once the pandemic restrictions were lifted, I think she did come to Maryland to see him. And it also doesn't make sense. Why would the Baltimore Ravens guy, who's like allegedly Juan's friend, why would he allow and let Juan to pay for the hotel room of a woman that he was the one who allegedly slept with? Because don't forget, Robyn is trying to defame this woman. And that's why she actually had to come out and say, listen, that's not true. Robyn said that she was probably going to be on OnlyFans. No disrespect to people on OnlyFans, but we know the connotation. Hi, Larsa Pippen. We know the connotation of OnlyFans. We know what she's trying to call her. Robyn also said that the woman had slept with the Baltimore Ravens guy, Juan's friend, which to me is utterly disgusting because the woman said that was the guy. She never said Baltimore Ravens. She said Juan's friend had inappropriately exposed himself sexually to her, expecting her to do a sexual act. So this woman is saying that she was violated, and you know, I'm praying to God he didn't fully assault her, that it was not just the exposure, because that in and of itself is traumatic. I'm just praying to God nothing else proceeded. You know, I'm hoping she was able to get out of that situation. You know what I'm, you guys know what I'm saying. And then for Robyn to go then say that this woman had sex with that man, to me is disgusting. As a woman, she should be ashamed of herself. Ashamed of yourself. Even if you thought this woman was lying through her teeth, the fact that she said that happened to her, and then you want to go to turn around and say she's OnlyFans and she slept with this man, is disgusting, Robyn. Absolutely disgusting. I believe what this woman is saying. She sounds credible. She sounds clear. Her story logically makes sense based on actual human behavior. While Robyn was sitting up there lying through her buck teeth. This is another thing that doesn't make sense. If the girl was there to see the Baltimore Ravens guy, why didn't he pay for the hotel? If Juan had no interest in this woman, if he had no idea why in the world she flew from Canada to Maryland, why wouldn't he say, yo, homie, your girl is at the hotel, you need to go handle that? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. All right, let's keep going.
So you and Juan did hang out when you were here.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay. So it wasn't he just came and put the card down and left. And was that part of his story then, the part about the casino? Because you didn't say anything about that to me.
Like I said, this is the first time I'm kind of hearing these things.
Yeah.
So I don't really I can't say anything because I have never heard of these stories before.
Do you feel like Juan gave her the story that she has regurgitated to all of us?
Definitely.
Okay. And then did Juan ever tell you that there was any sort of like real relationship with Robyn when you guys started talking, or was that clear to you when you guys were talking? Like, did you know that they were in a like relationship, or did it?
Very clear that the relationship was for TV. Like, it was for the fans. It was a paycheck. And that was just their obligation, right? And they needed to do what they needed to do pretty much for TV. And he made it clear that he does have that respect for Robyn, but it was not a real relationship. There was just not like a real loving relationship. It was just more of co-parenting and, kind of best buddies.
So then with that, it's clear that he didn't want to tell her the real story for whatever reason, even though you would think that they would be fine with it if it's just for TV. But now, one last thing.
Sorry, again, I had to pause. Giorgio, I love you, Giorgio. But again, I think you're missing the point. Like, he's like, oh, you think that he would tell her she'd be fine with it for it's because it's for TV. Again, it's not Juan telling Robyn this BS story. It's Robyn creating the BS story to cover up her tracks. So I don't agree with the woman. I'm not going to call her a mistress. With the woman when she said that she thinks that Juan fed Robyn this BS. But I think from her perspective, that's probably what she's thinking, given that's what everybody's saying. And given the fact that Giorgio gave her a very leading question, I think the better question would have been, and this is no shade to Giorgio, he did a fantastic job, is where do you think those stories came from? Do you think Robyn knew about you? What did Robyn say to you when you reached out to her? Like all of that stuff, right? Because I really don't think that this BS story is coming from Juan. I think it's coming from Robyn and Giselle to cover up for Robyn. And I also think that Robyn knew. I think Robyn knew that he was communicating with other women. Remember when it came out that Juan had his Finsta account and he was liking Instagram girls? Like, I personally don't care if people like photos. Like, to me, that's not a big deal. Like, whatever. But that's just me. Some people have a problem with it. You know, some people really don't like it. I personally knock yourself out, like away all day. I don't care. But I don't think that Robyn thought that Juan was faithful to her when, just like she said, they're best buddies. You know, he's always like, hey, Rob, what's up? I agree with everything that she was saying. I do think that it was a relationship was for TV. I do think that it was for the quote fans, and they did see it as an obligation. And I do think that they were just co-parenting 100%. And the gag is everything this woman is saying is exactly what we all have been saying pretty much since season 1, day 1. And to be honest, it's exactly what Juan himself said season 1, day 1. Remember, he was like pissed about something and he said to the producers, I would have been gone if it wasn't for the boys. Doesn't that exactly mean I don't want to be here? This isn't real. I'm only here for the children. And where's the marriage license? I think Robyn does Robyn with whatever person she wants to do it with. And I think Juan does Juan with whatever person he wants to do it with. And they have an understanding. The problem is that what the true problem, their big misstep, is that for whatever reason, they thought that we, the fans, actually wanted this buffoonery. And we'd never wanted this buffoonery. We never bought into your relationship. We never bought into your renewed love story. We, the fans, actually want Robyn. We want you to actually be happy, because then you would be more enjoyable to watch, other than this miserable, mean, bitter mess we've been forced to watch for the last 7 years. If you would have came out and you said, you know what, me and my college sweetheart, we tried, we have this, tragic story of, 2 college sweethearts, he makes good in the NBA, makes all this money, tragic ending, very Shakespearean, she blows all the money, but they're able to come back together and have a loving household for the kids. But it just doesn't work out romantically. And now we're going to co-parent. And I think that would have actually been a way more interesting story, because life is always better than fiction. Always better. Always. Life is always better than fiction. So this stupid stuff that they're making up about their life is absolutely ridiculous, when their actual life would have been way more engaging, way more interesting. They could have had those really cute co-parenting moments. They could have done a podcast together, besties co-parenting. They could have done a book, how to be the best co-parents, blah, 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 blah. We went from rags to riches to whatever, da, 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 da. There was so many avenues that they could have taken their true, real story that I think would have actually made them way more money. They could have done books and podcasts and all of that stuff, speaking tours, events, the co-parenting blueprint, how we still make it work, whatever the case may be, instead of this nonsense in front of us. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's keep going.
Also mentioned that you sent Juan a request via Zelle or something for $4,000, basically, I guess, insinuating that you were asking for the money in order to not go to the blogs or something to that. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, it's a little outrageous, and I wish she would have put more thought into her statement, because I am in Canada. I am a Canadian citizen. And in 2023, we don't have Zelle. We don't accept Zelle. I can't request Zelle. I don't have access to that on my phone. There's other means of sending money. we're Canadians, and Zell just is not an option, and everybody knows that. So I just think it's once again outrageous.
And that part I think is interesting because I didn't realize that Zell wasn't available in Canada, but from what you're saying, it's never been available. So so you did not request $4,000 from Juan. Okay.
No, did not happen.
Okay.
Dumb criminals. Sorry, I had to pop my cough drop back in. Again, dumb criminals. I am really liking this woman. Like, I feel like I want to go to brunch and just like chat with her because she's making them look dumb as hell. Again, dumb criminals. And I tell you, this is why I think Tweedledee and Tweedledum came up with this cockamamie story. I don't think Juan had anything to do with this. I think Juan was out with his other chicks. I think Juan was out with the boys. I think Juan was out with his homies. I think Juan was anywhere in the vicinity except for around Robyn and Giselle when they made up this cockamamie scheme. Because just like the woman said, you can't even access Zell in Canada. It's a different country. And Zell is not available in that particular country. Stupid. I told you, dumb criminals. Dumb criminals. Like, they couldn't even fact check. Like, you couldn't even say PayPal. Like, PayPal we know is pretty, like, universal. It's pretty international. You couldn't say PayPal. You had to say Zell. Girl, bye. Let's keep going.
Okay. And then, so the end of all this where you stop talking to Juan, that is when you're referring to the friend coming to the door and exposing himself. But Robyn's claimed that the friend was there in lieu of Juan taking you around. And so the friend was there merely to just kind of take you where you wanted to go, which I think she said you wanted to go to a couple of places that also didn't really make sense. Like, why would you come all the way to Maryland just to go to Western Union? But so that's not true. You did not hang out with a friend at all outside of that inappropriate behavior that he displayed.
No, we did not hang out. I never met him in my life. And I had no pre-existing knowledge that he was coming to the hotel to do what he did.
And then, so once you left, that was the very last, like, you were done with it.
Okay. Now, I believe her. And this also doesn't make sense. Again, dumb criminals. If it happened the way Robyn said, that the friend was there in lieu of Juan to take this woman around, again, it begs the logical question. Why was it that the friend did not pay for the hotel? If Juan was booked and busy and was not interested, why then would he all of a sudden drop everything he's doing to go pay for a hotel room for a woman who's not in that allegedly was just hanging out and being, right? Clown behavior. Robyn, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot have it both ways. If you're saying that the friend was showing her around the town, the friend was the one who slept with her, the friend was the one why she was there in the first place, it had nothing to do with Juan, why didn't the friend buy the hotel? Makes zero sense. And you guys know me. I always believe people when they say something happened to them. Unless it's Giselle and Ashley and Cookie Monster Sesame Street. Because that's just bold-faced lies. I believe this girl. And again, I hope to God it did not escalate to anything worse. Because it's already really bad to have somebody expose themselves to you sexually and then have the energy that they expect you to do something sexually to them that is non-consensual and unwanted. That's absolutely horrible. I just pray to God that situation did not escalate. And I hope she's okay. I'm sending a lot of love and healing and prayers to this woman because that's a horrible position to be in. This also gives credence to what she said before, how Juan and his friends like to go out and find girls and women to pass around sexually. That logically tracks with the woman's story. And to be perfectly honest, it also tracks with Robyn's story. And I'll tell you why. In the woman's story, she said, she flew from Canada to Maryland, she got the hotel with Juan, they dipped it and they did it, whatever, blah, 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 they'd been talking for a year, whatever the case may be. Then his friend came with the expectation that he also could do sexual things to her that she, wasn't up for. So that tracks. One of them finds a girl and then they pass them on to a friend. And she was like, not today, Satan, not me. This isn't what I signed up for. And I believe her. I think in her mind, she really thought, I'm dating Juan Dixon, blah, 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 blah. I think in her mind, she really thought she was building this relationship with him. Truth be told, he was probably texting and sexting and Instagramming, DMing with how many girls in the world who thought that they were the one who was dating Juan Dixon, right? And then she got here and she bit off more than she could chew. That also tracks with what Robyn, the dingbat, also said. Oh no, the girl was here for the Baltimore Ravens guy who's Juan's friend. And he was the one showing her around everywhere, and it was just the fact that she happened to call Juan and he was the one that came to the hotel room. Why, again, is this alleged Baltimore Ravens friend, again, don't come after me, Baltimore Ravens. This is what dingbat Robyn said. If you're going to sue anybody, sue her for saying this, because I do think it's lying. And it doesn't look good on your team or whatever state, city, whatever the hell. Doesn't look good on you. Why was he then passing this woman that Robyn said he just had sex with on to his friend Juan? In both scenarios, one of the friends had sex with this woman, and then one of the friends passed her on to his other friend. Doesn't that track with exactly what this woman said? That they find girls and women to have sex with, and then they pass them on to their friends? Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Okay, let's keep going.
Like, whether or not you said it to him, in your mind, were you done with this whole situation once that happened?
A little bit violated and obviously naive a little bit as well, but into that kind of thing. I don't know. I guess everybody has their own things that they like, but I thought talking with him for a whole year, I somewhat did get to know him, and I didn't see that coming at the end at all.
No, and it sounds pretty shocking. I mean, that would be pretty scary, I think, for anybody. But so all in all, you and Juan absolutely did hang out, and I don't want to go into detail, but would you say that things went further than just hanging out? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not here to hurt Robyn.
Sure.
I was never trying to hurt Robyn. And like I said, I'm not a malicious person like that. So I'm not going to get into all those details, but
okay.
He didn't just get me a hotel room to say goodbye.
Right. Well,
yeah, that's
you know what? I want to clarify this for everyone as well. I wholeheartedly believe that you had the most integrity with dealing with this. So I want to send my hats off to you for that, because this is not an easy situation, to have to talk about, and then for it to go public, and then hear someone claim rebuttals that are lies. So I appreciate you sticking through it, and we're gonna leave it. I think we'll leave it here. because I think we just wanted to kind of give rebuttals to what Robyn said Juan told her. I don't want to say Robyn's story because this is not her story. It's something clearly Juan told her and she's going with it. So we're going to leave it here for right now. But is there anything that you want to say to end this call? Or is there anything you want to say to Robyn or Juan?
Really, I think they should somewhat just admit what happened and leave it at that. That's pretty much, I would appreciate that. I'm not a fan of the fake stories and this narrative of things that didn't happen. I don't really understand why she needs to add so many other things in. It'd be cool if they could just admit it, leave it where it's at, and kind of move on. Be real, speak your truth, but don't add lies in with that. Like, literally speak your truth. That's what they're both paid to do, right? On TV, they're reality stars. So
that's what Andy said. That's what Andy said. So, okay then. Well, I really appreciate your time as I.
Oof. All right, you guys, that was it. That's what she said. But this is another thing I wanted to point out. Another reason why I believe this woman, and I also think that Robyn was dead wrong to try and defame her, being like OnlyFans this, or that. She's asking to stay anonymous. If this was supposed to be some money grab scheme, the way Robyn wants us to think that it is, through Zelle, even though they don't even get Zelle in Canada, which is where this woman lives, she can't even get the app on her phone. If it's this big money grab, if it's this girl wants to be, quote, famous off of them, because she said that too. If this girl wants to, set up her OnlyFans account, how come she's not showing her face? How come she's not dropping links? How come she's not even saying what her name is? She's not even giving a hashtag or a handle. That to me gives her even more credibility. Because basically what she's saying is, this is what happened to me. This is my story. And honestly, I bet you the reason why she even came out in the first place is because of the predatory behavior she was talking about Juan and his friends. She was probably scared. Listen, I personally think she's a victim. I pray nothing more happened, but even what did happen, because I believe what she's saying, that's very traumatizing. Look at Caroline Manzo. She just left Ultimate Girls Trip because Brandy was drunk, locked her in a bathroom, put her tongue down her throat, and was touching on her breast and vagina. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I believe what she's saying. And I think that she reached out for that. I think she thought she was the one for Juan, that they were having this, long distance pandemic love. She was going to show up in Maryland and it was going to be happy ever after. And she showed up and she found out she was one of many and that he had no problem passing her. Again, I'm saying this is what my belief is. I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm saying I believe her, in my opinion. So don't come after me, Robyn. Because I'm allowed. We live in America. I'm allowed to say what my opinion is, what my beliefs are. That's what I think happened. And then I think she came out for the second time, what Giorgio says, to clear her name. You're basically trying to call this woman a slut, to be honest. That's what you're trying to call her. Saying she's OnlyFans. Now she's a prostitute. Send me $4,000 via the Zelle app that I can't even get to. And then you want to say she's lying about being victimized and that she actually slept with the man that she's claiming violated her. It is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. And I do believe her that when she said Juan told her that him and Robyn were not in a relationship, I do believe her that Juan said it was just for the camera, it was just for the show, it was just for TV. Doesn't that sound a lot like Jamal? Remember Pastor Holy Whore when he had the fake relationship with Giselle and the women that he really was dating and sleeping with? He told them the exact same thing. It's just for TV. It's for storyline. It's for the cameras. So it's not like this woman thought she was the mistress. It's not like this woman thought she was the other woman. It's not like this woman thought she was, wrecking a home or stealing her man. She thought, I'm dating a reality star and he's lying about his life for a Bravo check and for the mother of his children that he's co-parenting with to have a storyline and a job. To be perfectly honest, I'm a pretty smart person. And given Juan and Robyn's situation, I would actually believe that. Because to be honest, I never believed Juan and Robyn were together in the first place. So why wouldn't I think, yeah, they're just together for the show? That's actually what he said himself. I'm only here for the boys. He said that on camera, on footage. So why wouldn't you believe him and think that? That's why I'm like, I'm not calling her the mistress. I need to change the title of this now. Because I don't think she thought she was the other woman. And I think intention matters. It's one thing to think this man is married, this man is engaged, this man is in a committed relationship, and I don't care. I'm going to do what I want with him, versus this man is on a TV show and he's fronting for a paycheck for his family. To be honest, that's what I always thought to begin with anyway. All right, you guys. Woof. So stick around my candy canes because I definitely want to take some of your candy cane questions and comments, and I'm going to drop the link as well. So stick around. But for anybody watching on the replay, you know what to do. Comment down below. Are you like me and you think that what everybody is getting wrong is that they all are saying that this BS story came from Juan and that this is what Robyn is choosing to believe and is now regurgitating? I actually don't think that. I think this is the story that Robyn and Giselle came up with to save themselves and to save Robyn. I think Juan honestly probably could not even be bothered. The sad part is, I don't think Juan cares about the woman in Canada. I think she was just one of many in a rotation. And I don't think he cares about what's happening to Robyn. So I don't even think he cares enough to make up a story. I think this made up story came from Robyn and Giselle. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Also, who do you believe more? Robyn's story or the woman's story? Put it down below. And anything else you want to talk about, put it down below. But before you do that, you know what to do. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live. Also, be sure to share this with a friend because a kiki is always better with community. Check out our description box down below. Sign up for our newsletter. It is 100% free. And you get a free self-love guide. Check out our podcast, books, movies, and self-love courses. So with that, I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come. As always, zero pressure. And I'm going to take some of your candy cane questions and comments. So I'm just going to start in a random spot. So if I missed a bunch of the comments from before, because we've been on